All right, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in. We're back with another episode of Passion and Precision. I'm always joined by co-host Jory from Jory Sports Stories. So, Jory, how are you doing tonight?
Well, how about yourself?
I'm good. I can't complain. We had Thanksgiving football and we had Black Friday football. It's already feel like it's been a packed weekend of football, and we haven't actually gotten to the weekend yet. So
Right.
I can't complain at all. Um, so look, if you're new to the show or the channel, make sure you give us a like, follow, or subscribe to Integrity Sports Network. We're going to touch on some NBA once again. We have, I guess, a superstar in the league that decided to call out their team through the media. Jory and I will discuss whether or not we like when players do that. And then NFL, we're going to have to talk about another coach got a pink slip. And if you saw the games Thursday, you'd probably say it's well deserved. But Jory and I will discuss that as well. There's a team down south that the calendar's getting closer to December, and seems like nothing's changed with them as they uh, continue to have issues with cold weather. And then we have a special topic for the end of the show that will be Thanksgiving themed. So make sure you stick around for that. And if you are in the comments, obviously we want to hear from you. So flood them, flood the comments. Like, give us your opinion on everything we talk about because we do want to hear from you. But let's go ahead and get started first with Zion. So I put it simply as Zion hype over. He's a guy that since he was in high school, he was all over YouTube, he was all over social media for how great and everything he was supposed to be when he got to the league. Where now, some years in, hasn't happened yet, and because of his body composition and the injuries that have happened because of that, I honestly think people need to start changing the perception of Zion and just realize he's not going to live up to it. But I know, Jory, you have plenty that you want to talk about with Zion. So I'm gonna let you take the floor on this one. I yeah, just go ahead, talk about Zion for a few minutes.
He's a bust. Like, considering we've seen flashes
Hmm.
of what he can be, we've seen him been dominant. But if we're being logical, he's been in the league for 6 seasons. He's played in less than half of his eligible games.
Hmm.
Your biggest ability is your availability. And why is he unavailable? Well, injuries. And not like ACLs and blowing out a knee or something like that. They're soft tissue injuries, hamstring, things like that. That's what got him out now. And he's not even close to returning. And the thing is, with him, people have been telling him he needed to get his weight under control, stay disciplined, and stuff like that. But he's had this lackadaisical, you can't tell me what to do, you can't touch me type attitude towards that. I don't think I need to. I remember on Undisputed, Shannon Sharp checked him, or was that on Club Shay Shay? One of either one.
Hmm.
Shannon Sharp got on him about that. He was like, I think my diet is fine, pretty much. I'm like, all right. You're big as a linebacker or of a defensive end, and you're jumping up and down on bad knees. You need to get in shape and stay in shape. You get paid millions of dollars to play a game. We can't even get you that to take that serious. You could just tell he doesn't take it serious. Like even last year. I don't know what it was. It might have been last season or the season before that when he showed up and I saw his belly over his stomach, over his shorts. I'm like, Zion, that's ridiculous. And then you had this crap. This last week, this week, you're showing off a Baki tattoo, sir. Now I'm an anime fan too. I don't think that man would want you getting that tattoo knowing that you're not disciplined.
Mhm.
Like you got that tattoo and then you look or turn around and you look like you done had a few too many beers. And all of that muscle definition that we've seen throughout the summer is just pretty much gone. Like, what did you do? And I understand that he's him being injured can hamper with his ability to work out and stay consistent and whatnot. But your
Mhm.
diet, man, your diet. And then at the end of it, you're showing us a plate of food. Like, are you toying with my emotions right now? He is so unserious.
Mhm.
And now it's coming out that he didn't want to be in New Orleans. So that's where you got drafted. And you fired your agency because they won't force you to New York. New York don't need you. What are you gonna do? Go to all the hot dog stands? There's one on every corner. There's like three on each street. I guarantee you that.
Mhm.
If y'all think New Orleans was the bad place for food, try New York City. You're surrounded by it. Like you can walk. Like I've been to New York City. You walk
Mhm.
outside the hotel room, there is somebody selling something. And I tell you, I had I don't know what it had. Was it an empanada or something? From
Mhm.
outside the hotel, from the street vendor, it was so good. But neither here or there. That's the point. He could walk outside his hotel room and get something to eat if he wanted to. Until 2 o'clock in the morning. He wanna go to New York. And if
I
you're
honestly don't
not
know.
disciplined,
I honestly don't know what city he could go to that doesn't
Portland,
necessarily have. I feel like Portland is. You know, a lot of seafood up there.
probably. I just
Yeah, I
don't
don't know where.
imagine anywhere in Oregon having food, nice food.
I mean, look, it's on the water to me. That throws seafood into the conversation. So I don't know
Send them
where
to
he could go.
Toronto, where they can eat. Where they can eat. Send them to Toronto.
I guess.
I don't even
Well,
know what they eat over there.
I mean, Toronto and Canada, they're known for well, like poutine and syrup and stuff. Like, I mean,
And who wants to
yeah.
eat that? Okay then.
Hey, Zion, based off of Zion, he may take a liking to it. We don't know.
It's not the food's issue. It's him.
Hmm.
Like I understand that you're young and you're gonna eat what you want to eat. Granted, if I'm hungry enough, I can eat two large pizzas by myself. Does that mean I'm gonna do it? No, because there's consequences to that.
Hmm.
And now everybody's been trying to warn him from this. Now he's looking at the consequences. He can't stay healthy to save his life, and now it's taking him longer to recover from injuries. Excuse me. Like he was never been consistently disciplined enough, and that comes from off rip being the most athletic, and the fact that he had that lackadaisical attitude towards people saying that he needed to lose weight, and him saying he's fine. Here we are, Lord. Here we are. Here we go. You're fine now, aren't you? On the sidelines, watching.
Hmm.
He's a bust, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
I mean, look, it's hard not to associate him with that because, like I said, the hype that he had coming out of high school, he hasn't lived up anywhere near it. So yeah, you do have to throw in bust. And like you said, it's not necessarily just the weight and all that, but if you look at Zion high school to now, where could you really say he's evolved his game in any way or developed any aspect of his game? I find it hard to find that because he's still a guy who's going to rely on a little bit of bully ball, get to the rim, and elevate using athleticism over guys. Well, it's going to come to a certain point with the lower body injury is going to take a toll. That's not going to be part of his arsenal anymore. And once that happens, what's his counter? He doesn't have like a great face up game. I think it could be better. And maybe, if he were to dedicate and work on it, I don't think it's a skill that he can't have. In terms of mid range jumper, or, I mean, I guess you don't really need him shooting threes or anything like that, but just expanding his game, I feel like somebody has to get to him to take that part more seriously because I think the more this goes with each passing year, one, if the lower body injuries continue, he's not going to have a long career. Like that's a given. But if he wants to salvage a career, he's got to add something different than I'm just more athletic than you and I can jump higher than you, or my second jump is faster than your second jump. There's got to be more to it. And for New Orleans, they took this guy when they were like down on their luck. This was just after the Anthony Davis stuff, which that turned into a complete sideshow. Uh, Jory will be right back, but um, it was a sideshow in New Orleans, and the Anthony Davis stuff. Like New Orleans thought that Zion was going to be this breath of fresh air, a new start, and it's turned into a bit of a nightmare to the point where there's now conversations of whether or not New Orleans needs to move him. And to be honest with you, I kind of think that's where they are with him. So it's it's sad to see, obviously, because nobody wants to see a top prospect and a talented player completely fail. But a lot of this he's going to have to chalk up to himself. And I don't know, maybe like he's still young enough that he can turn this around. But there's not really much so far in his career to make you think he's willing to do that. And I think that's where my issue with Zion is. I think that's where, Jory's coming from with Zion. Like you look at other players, I mean, other top tiered players in this league, you see progression in them. And just haven't seen it with Zion yet. Like it's just plain and simple. So I think the hype's over. I mean, any of you tuning in think that the book shouldn't be closed on Zion yet? I mean, do some of you think he's still a great player in this league? I would love to know that. Because, like I said, he came in with superstar potential. I don't even know if I would. I mean, I guess you have to say he's a star because he has name recognition, but in terms of what he does on the court, like Zion's just a guy to me. Like he's that's just what he is. Trey Jones going on. I see you in here. Zion peaked in college. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And look, that's well and good, but
It got him a bag.
that it did. So in that case, you can't hate on them. But if you're New Orleans, like you're looking at this like we can't catch a break. Went from
Or
Anthony
we missed
Davis.
on that pick.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of that draft. Who else was in that draft? When it comes to NBA drafts, I am terrible with remembering who's what year. Hold on, I'm looking that up.
Special guest.
2019. Ah, hey Bella. Bella's early. Bella usually comes in late. Well, hey, she's more than welcome to stay around from the whole show. Oh, that was the John Morant draft. Oh, that
Mm-hmm.
John Morant, R.J. Barrett, I mean, whatever. Darius Garland, Kobe White, Tyler Hero. Oh, that's pool party draft. Okay. Nick Claxton, DeAndre Hunter. Rui was in that draft. Cam Reddish. Okay. Oh, I mean, look. I guess the biggest thing for the Pelicans will be Ja Zion. Would they be in a better position if they drafted John Morant over Zion? Even though they play two different positions, I know, but I mean, if you were looking for a big man, there wasn't really one drafted until Jackson Hayes went 8 and Rui went 9. Neither of those guys would have been worthy of the number one pick.
Right.
So if they took John Morant number one, their point guard at the time was it was it Drew Holiday then? I mean, yeah. Either way, that's yeah. My mind would have started getting way too deep into that, but that's what's going to come down to. Would they be in a better position if they drafted John Morant and moved on from whoever was holding the point guard position than they are now drafting Zion and this many years in, still not really knowing what Zion's ceiling is? I don't think anybody knows what his ceiling is, and that's kind of a problem.
His ceiling is where he is right now.
I mean, if that's the case, then if you're New Orleans, I
He hasn't
yeah,
proven it.
yeah, because that's
He
what I was
has
saying
not
when you're
proven
when you're coming
otherwise.
back in. It's like we have no reason to think that Zion's going to hit the gym, get in better shape, or develop his game in any way. We have no evidence that he's wanting to do that. We have no evidence that anybody in that organization is pushing him to do that. So I think the question might be, do they just trade him, cut their losses?
I would. But what is his value?
That's also
I
a
mean,
good question.
I'm talking about somebody who's missed over half their games
Mm-hmm.
due to various injuries. Bless you.
Yeah.
Um, and like him with that video that he put out showing up that stupid ass tattoo, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he had food as the B roll, why would you? That was planned. And the
Yeah.
fact that he answered a question on Thanksgiving, cognizant of what social media thinks and what people are saying about him, you don't think
Mm-hmm.
that put a little pressure on you to do better? So you just know that people are calling you a lazy fat behind and you're just okay with it.
Right. Yeah. Because yeah, that whole interaction was weird. Because he heard the question, he's like, I don't know, because whatever I say, social media is gonna whatever, which kind of implied that he probably would have named a bunch of things, and people would have been like, yeah, that's why,
That's the
whatever.
problem.
Yeah. And look, this is kind of the issue with, I guess New Orleans is a smaller market in the grand scheme of things in the NBA. They got Zion, they rolled the red carpet out for him, and if they, I guess, had done their homework or whatever, would have realized they probably went they were too invested in him since he's shown he's not invested in himself. But I do think they. I know we said like, what's his value? Here's how you increase value for Zion. You pick a team that's going nowhere, struggling with attendance, no real reasons to go check him out, and send him there. Because the fact that Zion is still a name may help a team. What kind of team is that? I
The
don't know.
the Hornets, the Wizards,
Yeah.
Portland.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I mean, Portland's struggling since the Dame stuff to kind of establish a guy up there. I mean, yeah, they have Scoot Henderson, they have Anthony Simons, they have guys like that. But I mean, yeah, you put Zion up there, could work. Charlotte, question would be, with LaMelo, you got Brandon Miller, you got Miles Bridges. Like, who would you send back to New Orleans that New Orleans would want? So I think they could find somebody for him. It'd
Free
probably be a deal
Brandon
that,
Miller.
yeah, but it'd probably be like a deal that if we saw it would be like, that's all you got for him. But you just have to treat it as addition by subtraction type of move.
Mm-hmm.
Trajan says we've struggled since the Dame trade, since the Dame stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true. All right, let's go on to the next topic. Obviously, we want you all to continue to drop your comments in. So, Ant in Minnesota, another team that has, I guess, taken a step back so far in the season from last year. They recently had a loss. He got in front of the media, basically ripped the team as front runners, and yeah, he's been frustrated a few times. We've seen it. The play that sticks out in my mind. Randall has it at the 3-point line. Rudy Gobert has his man pinned under the rim, putting his arms up like, throw me the ball. Randall doesn't throw it to him. Gobert sulks in the paint, gets a 3-second call. Anthony Edwards is looking at both of them like, what are we doing? And I just feel like Ant's going to become more and more frustrated because we know Ant is a competitor. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we know
And he's
that.
vocal.
Yes, which is why he's probably clearly the leader in that locker room, or one of the leaders, I'll say. But I think the bigger question is players that go through the media to call out teammates. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think it's kind of a case to case process, or does it matter on who the person is that does it?
A mix of everything. Because I'm like, I understand that he's frustrated with the way the team has been playing.
Mm-hmm.
He also got to understand, right before the season started, they traded away their second best player. It's going to take some time to get some gel going. Especially when you got Velcro handle Randall. I
That
mean,
kind
of
of just
course he's
roll off
going
the
to
tongue.
salt Gobert out when Gobert's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Randall does that type of stuff, and it makes you want to punch him in the bad shoulder. It's like, but the fact that there's been a surprise uprising of this type of calling out, I don't like it. Because I'm like, in case by case, yeah. In this case, would I have gone as far as Anthony has gone? No. Some of
Okay.
that needs to be said behind closed doors. Some of that we don't need to know. And some of it comes across as y'all are trying to publicly humiliate your teammates to get them to feel better, to get them to play better. So I'm like, even when Giannis did it, when Giannis did that thing, when he was telling somebody, when he was doing an interview, when he was telling somebody, if you don't want to be here, get the F out of here. I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that at all. Because why would you take the time out of your interview to say that to him? You tried to humiliate him for no reason.
Hmm.
Absolutely no reason other than you're frustrated. I get that you're frustrated, but you don't get to dunk all over me because you're frustrated and keep calling me out. We're all trying to get a win. Some people are more talented than others. Some people are more consistent than others. I get it, but I don't like it. Just now y'all starting to show y'all's butt and act like y'all bigger, like y'all high and mighty. And I get to say this about my teammates. Now, had that same teammate said that about you, you probably would have went Draymond on them. Treat people how you want to be treated. Period.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is tricky because with Anthony Edwards, I guess I'm okay if he does it. I agree with you. I think for these players, you have a line you need to toe. You have to be careful not to cross it because obviously you don't want to hear a player come out and just rip a specific player and name drop them. Like you don't want that. Is there? It can be effective putting it out there in the media. The player sees it and thinks it's them. Maybe they step their game up. Fine. You also need to know how your locker room is constructed and whether or not guys will respond correctly to it. So you like to think Ant knows that in that locker room he can do that. It won't be that big of a deal. But we'll have to see the coming weeks or so. If their play doesn't get any better, is he now going to do it again? Will it just sit and fester and it'll just create more division, or will the play just continue to suffer on the court? That we don't know. But Ant's obviously not the only athlete to do this. Look, we've seen Rodgers do it. We've seen LeBron do it. We've seen countless, Giannis, like you said, countless leaders on teams try to use the media for their good to get the team to play better. Most cases, I would say I kind of hear the sound bites and I might roll my eyes a little bit because why not just go up to whoever got you frustrated in the locker room and hash it out there? Like, do it with your coaches or whatever. Like, do it within the locker room because that's like y'all's sanctuary. Media, yes, you can give them little bits and pieces on what's going on, but you also don't want it to make it turn into that, oh, the Wolves have turmoil in their locker room, and then that becomes a narrative all season. When they lose a couple of games in a row, they just revisit that because that's something that can tear apart a locker room in Minnesota that's gone through transition. Guys going out, new guys coming in, still trying to get used to each other. Like this could be something that deteriorates whatever progress might have been made on that front. And if you're the head coach, like you now have to be paying more attention to Ant and Randall and Gobert to make sure those three actually can function on the court together. Otherwise, this deadline, you might have to make another change within that locker room. And then we could be looking 2, 3 years down the line and wondering, did the Wolves miss their opportunity? And maybe that's where Ant's coming from. He doesn't want that to be his lot in Minnesota, that last year was the best that they could have been.
I agree because I'm like with them, if the play doesn't improve and they keep consistently playing like this, I do see because I know Rudy is pretty much untradeable, and the fact that they've navigated his offensive tomfoolery with him on the floor, they've navigated around that. He's staying. Randall might have to go. He's gonna have to go because he's messing it up,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna wish they hadn't traded Cat, but I guess.
Right. The move's been made. Like you kind of have to deal with it. Now, maybe what's you could say might benefit Minnesota is when Cat and Gobert first got there, they struggled a lot. The second year was better than the first year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is the struggle year with Randall, and they need to hold it together enough so that next year maybe they're better off.
Every year
We'll
is a
see.
struggle year with Randall.
That's true. Like I'm not the biggest Randall guy. I mean, I know you have issues with Randall. He's basically in his career, his contract year was his best year. Guys who are like that are usually the ones that you don't want building as building blocks for your team. Because if he's going to give you that kind of effort every 4 or 5 years when he's up for a contract, then yeah, like what are we doing here?
I just don't. I just want people to be more mindful. Ain't nobody going to Chicago.
Hold on, Damien, where have you been? Damien used to be like a staple on like every show I was doing. He would pop in to get everybody to Chicago. Welcome back, Damien. Yes, I agree with Jory. I don't think Cat's going to Chicago, so you might have to look elsewhere. But the fact that you're thinking of making moves in Chicago, I think it's the right mentality because Chicago definitely needs to do something. But yes, Cat's not going there. But like I said, welcome back, Damien. Appreciate you. Um, so yeah, we'll see what Minnesota ends up doing, how they uh, progress from this. Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's keep going here. All right, we're gonna switch to the NFL. Unless there's anything NBA you may have thought of while we were discussing this that you wanted to touch on before we move on. Oh, say that again.
Jokic needs help. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Which he deals with that on international level because when he plays with Serbia, he needs help there too. They better hope they don't burn that man out. So,
It's
Damien
coming.
says, yeah. Damien says, I've been away from the hell of social media. Hey, Damien, I respect that because yes, social media is draining. So, welcome back. All right, NFL now. So, if you watched the games yesterday, well, one game in particular has taken over a lot of the attention, and that was Chicago. They're playing against the Lions, who Jory and I have said probably the best team in the NFC. I think it's arguable that they're the best team in the NFL. The Bears look like they're going to get a signature win. They're driving down the field. They only need a field goal. They're on the edge of field goal range. Time seemed to be on their side. They had a timeout in their pocket. It was Caleb Williams taking a snap. His right tackle, basically, if he wasn't there, it would have the same result because he was there. He didn't lay a finger on the DN. Caleb Williams takes the sack. 37 seconds are on the clock. They have a timeout, and I watched the play again. An offensive lineman, when they're standing there, goes like this with his hands, like "Let's go, let's go, let's go." Caleb Williams makes a gesture like he's calling a play, and 34 seconds run off the clock.
And
He
then you
gets
get the
the snap.
hot mess of a last play.
Well, at that point, so this is where Caleb Williams showed the only awareness in that whole time. He realized at
He's
that
the
point
only one who
the
had
ball.
awareness.
Yes, he realized the ball had to go towards the end zone. He threw it to Roma Dunze. It was also double covered, but that was his only chance at that. And the ball falls short. They lose. If you've been on TikTok, there's a couple of accounts I watch on there of like Bears fans that react to Bears games, and the reactions to that sequence have been priceless because Bear fans are just besides themselves. It ends up costing Eberflus his job, of course. I think some people are trying to, I guess, trying to discuss whether or not it's 100% Eberflus's fault. Does Caleb Williams deserve some blame in this? The offensive coordinator who was talking to Caleb Williams, does he deserve any of this? So do you put the blame all on Eberflus for what happened at the end with the Lions?
Not just Eberflus, the coaching staff.
Okay, yes.
Why were y'all not prepared to run a play? Why were y'all not using that last time out? And then for the idiot to turn right around and say, I think we did the right thing. You thought wrong, you idiot, and now you done got fired on your day off.
Right.
Like, when I saw that, I was like, I know Chicago. Like they had fought, they had gotten their butts kicked for a half, and then they making a comeback, and then the ineptitude. I'm okay, Bella. Of the coach, absolute ineptitude,
Mm-hmm.
cost them. The players did their job. Caleb Williams, the fact that the rookie quarterback had the most awareness of anybody on that field in those last seconds, when they realized how much time they had just wasted that they couldn't get back.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that kills me is you could have stopped the time from running off the clock, you idiot with the beard. You had a timeout to draw up a play, and you didn't call it. Then to turn around and sound like a doofus. Oh, I think we did the right thing. That's why he does not have a job.
Yeah.
Because you
When I
literally,
heard,
that right there,
yeah.
Eberflus or somebody should have called the timeout. The play should have been drawn up. That was a whole collapse. And you heard what the player said after it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. When Eberflus said that, and that video was making the rounds, I was like, there's not a chance he survives that. And Damian said he should have been fired after losing to the Cardinals. I mean, you could say he could have been fired after losing to the Commanders. Like, there's been a few times this year where you're like, he was already on the hot seat, and the way that they have lost some of these games. I mean, look, some would say the 19-3 loss to the Patriots probably should have been the end for him because we know how bad the Patriots have been this season. But that game,
He should have never been allowed to touch Caleb Williams.
well, yes, smart organizations, that would have been the way to go. Like, Eberflus was a lame duck coach. You bring in the quarterback, he's defensive minded. You get him an offensive minded coach, and you move on. But the Bears, as we know, are going to bear, and this is what they do. So now they're in a position that, luckily, Caleb Williams has looked better the last couple of weeks, but now you're jumping into the coaching market. You figure they're going to go after an offensive minded coach. There is a guy who was on the sideline for that game Thursday that they probably should make the first call to in Ben Johnson. Now, if you're Ben Johnson, you turned down offers last season. Is the Bears' job a job that you would leave Detroit for? Or
No.
would you hold out for another one?
I know. Because of the organization, not because of Caleb Williams. Because of that organization being dysfunctional, and I don't trust that GM.
That's fair. They'd have to come with like a really good sales pitch.
Mm-hmm. Like
Because yes,
you can't fire me. Like if I were to coach the Bears, I'm like, you cannot fire me one season in. You give
right.
me 3.
I
At
think
least.
Ben Johnson would get that kind of leeway that he wouldn't be one and done. I think he commands that at this point.
Not
But
even 2 and done.
Yes, he'd have to probably say 3 years minimum, probably more like 4. If you want to be honest, because the past few seasons and the issues that they've had, it's going to take some time to fix some of that. Now, for Ben Johnson as an offensive guy, you got a quarterback, got a few good wide receivers, decent running back, not a terrible place to start. You got to fix the line, obviously, but maybe he looks at that and says he could fix it. What's going on? Jordan, feel bad for any rookie quarterback that goes there. Well, I mean, they already got Caleb Williams, so I feel like that's been figured out. The problem
And that
is
defense,
coaching.
that defense,
Stevenson,
that's Mr. Stevenson.
yeah,
Barbecue chicken, he's trash.
yeah, it has not been good for him since the Hail Mary incident. Like most games you watch, quarterbacks are targeting him at will at this point. Uh, no star wide receiver wants to go to that dumpster fire routine. They wasted Justin Fields' time. I mean, I wouldn't call Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's a pretty good wide receiver. DJ Moore's a pretty good wide receiver. And
They're not scrubs.
Roma Dunze was highly touted out of Washington. So I think wide receivers would want to go there. I think Caleb Williams the past couple of weeks has shown a reason for wide receivers to want to play with him. I think the Eberflus part was the biggest deterrence for free agents. I think now that he's out of the equation, I think Chicago looks more enticing. Now, the front office, like you said, Jory, this next hire has to be correct. You can't mess around with this and bring in, some like no name, like secondaries coach from some random team. Like this needs to be knock it out of the park. You bring in somebody, we go, yes, that's the offensive mind to give Caleb Williams an actual shot.
I have somebody
General.
making a blanket bed in the background, so please excuse
good.
any movement.
Look, we've already said Bella is the third member of the show. Like it's all good. Damien said, I'd rather stay with Thomas Brown. It saves the Bears some money and time. Plus, I think he can be like the Rich Bisaccia situation.
I agree. I wouldn't be too mad if they tried that. Especially how he has this offense looking, considering when he took over for what's his face. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but you would want an offensive minded coach. And he's Thomas Brown has kind of proven that last year when his year was Carolina, he was being set up to fail under Frank Reich.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of proven that. But and it's not necessarily Bryce's fault either. He's showing that too.
Yeah. I mean, look, Bears fans, I don't know if they would necessarily be thrilled to have Thomas Brown just be the coach, but I agree. Looking at the offense from Shane Waldron to Thomas Brown, it's night and day. Like I was watching Detroit, Caleb Williams was the second half. The first half was brutal, but the second half, Caleb Williams looked like a confident guy back there. He was making some throws that you're like, you do that, you're going to win games in this league. So, yeah, I mean, look, maybe we do need to start thinking more seriously about Thomas Brown taking the job because we know he's offensive-minded, which is what they need to draft. I mean, not draft, but they need to hire an offensive-minded coach at this point. Don't need another Eberflus. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I didn't think about it before you guys brought it up, but I wouldn't hate it, especially if the offense continues to look the way it has. The next couple of weeks in the season. All right, so Eberflus is out there. If a team wants him, he's readily available. I take it. Bella's making some noise. It's all good.
It's not even her anymore. It's the other one.
I got you.
And I know you hear him.
It's actually not that loud, so that's fine. Yeah, it's all right. Look, we go from Chicago with Eberflus to another team that Jory and I love to talk about. The Dolphins. Remember the good times? They win a couple of games. They beat the Patriots and some teams. Daniel is just living it up on the sideline. Players are enthusiastic. We're getting sound bites. Well, they play the Packers in cold weather, which has been their kryptonite past couple of seasons, and they get blown out. And then we get one of the linebackers, I'm blanking on his name right now, who said the weather affected them and called the team soft. So clearly, last season is rearing its ugly head once again because the weather's not going to get any warmer as we get into December. So this is Miami Dolphins football right now. I feel like it'd be pointless to ask, are the Dolphins a soft team? Because you and I have mentioned on here before, they're a soft group. So
And they front run, and they're frauds, and their
yep.
head coach is the definition of a front running. Is the front runner. Hey, Max, we didn't even call the play. Did you call the play versus the Packers? You called the play then, huh? What happens is, please excuse my damn dog.
It's fine. It's fine. You good?
He's getting on my nerve. McFraud. When he didn't have Tua, he was horrid. Even Tua. The fact that the second it dips below 55 to 40 degrees, all of a sudden he's not as accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like tackling. Josh Jacobs ran up and down the field.
Yep.
Like, be for real. You mean to sit here and tell me we're supposed to take y'all serious and y'all only play well when it's 60 degrees and above? Granted, I get it because it's warmer outside and I don't like cold weather either.
Mm-hmm.
But they fold like lawn chairs when it's cold. They act like they ain't never seen the cold before. Right, y'all never played in the snow?
I,
If
I
not
mean,
that, you never slid
they
down
have guys on that team that have.
you never slid down a hill on some ice?
Right. Yes.
Right, come on. I know it don't feel right, but if y'all want to be taken seriously, because the only way people are going to take y'all seriously is somehow y'all get the number 1 overall seed and the playoffs go through Miami.
Right.
But we know you're not going to do
Not
that
happen.
because if people step on your throat, y'all be flopping like a fish out of water. If they slow you down and be physical with you. They are soft. They are front-running frauds. They are like the Cowboys. All they do is run their mouths. And Tyreek Hill is the worst of them. And McDaniel,
Yes.
that little smug, chestnut-looking dude, he's a fraud.
Yeah, because it was sideline to sideline. It was like 2 weeks ago when Gene asked me teams I hate, and I left the Dolphins out of my top 5. To be honest with you, the Dolphins have shot into my top 5 so quickly. Because I agree, there's just something about McDaniel I just cannot stand anymore.
With that little arrogant-ass facial expression. I'm like, him and Tua. I'm like, Tua, you a Bama boy. What happened?
Yeah, between him, I mean Tyreek Hill is it.
Meet
He's
me
an
at the end
unlikable.
zone.
He's an unlikable character to begin with, but the way this season's going, because there's a lot of weeks in there, he was sulking on the sidelines on the bench, but then they started winning some games. You see him up clapping and doing all this stuff, and now it's back to whatever. Like you said, you want to look up front runner in the dictionary, it is the Dolphins, especially under Mike McDaniel. And then when you think back to the offseason, the whole Mike McDaniel, Brian Flores stuff, Brian Flores' team wouldn't be doing this because Brian Flores wouldn't allow it. But Mike McDaniel's everybody's friend, and look where it's getting them.
Two over here talking about meet me in the end zone. You know the defensive players saying let's meet at Tua's head.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like,
look,
calm
there.
yourself. And then him being thinking that he's Superman and he just got knocked out and he just all and salty and whatnot over here still running into people's kneecaps. Just a bunch of dummies, front running dummies.
Yeah. And look, looking at the rest of their schedule, I mean, the Jets down in Miami, so weather might not be as big of a problem. Then they go to Houston. That's in a dome. That's not going to be a problem. Then they get the Niners out in San Francisco. Weather might not be a problem. Last 2 weeks, they have to go to Cleveland.
Oh,
Good
it's
luck
definitely gonna be a
December.
problem then.
Good luck December 29th in Cleveland. And then January 5th, they have to go to New York to face the Jets. They find themselves at 5-7. They are, I believe, 2 games out of a playoff spot. If I am correct here. Yeah, the Broncos are 7-5. Dolphins at 5-7. They're basically to the point where they need to win out to even have a shot of getting in. I think between Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos, those teams probably get to 10 wins, maybe 9 if you're lucky. But I don't see the Dolphins winning 4 out of 5 or all 5 of their games that are remaining. So the nice little um, good feeling that they had the past couple of weeks, I think it's over with. I think their season's done at this point. And I guess we'll see what kind of leader Mike McDaniel is these last 5 weeks. Because one, the Tyler Huntley weeks, he was nothing more than just a figurehead just standing on the sideline. He all of a sudden could coach again when Tua came back. But now that they've been punched in the mouth and momentum's been knocked out of them with the Green Bay game, let's see what Mike McDaniel does. Like, if he
I
wants
hope
to
they
be,
fold.
well, I mean, obviously as a Patriots fan, I want them to fold too. But it's like, if he wants to be thought of as some top coach in the league, then I guess navigate these 5 games, win them with the Dolphins, get into the playoffs. Maybe. I mean, I still wouldn't think he's all that good, but like, show us something. That's kind of where I'm at. And, this is an instance where a player calling out the team, I think, was justified. If after everything that happened last season, I think it's probably their first cold weather game, we got players talking about they were affected by it, then yeah, you need to be called out as soft. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with this one being out in the public in the media, because some guys in that locker room probably were embarrassed by it, and they should be embarrassed by it. So, yeah, I guess go Dolphins if you're a Dolphins fan. Which
Those pieces that they come from, I'm not surprised.
mm-hmm.
Think about it. Even Jalen Ramsey, he came from
Yeah.
Jacksonville. He didn't like tackling in December.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason Derrick Henry always ran wild against Jalen Ramsey, or do we just somehow forget that? He
Yeah.
had some of his highlight reels against Jalen Ramsey, just trucking him because he didn't want to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
He'd rather get folded at the 1 yard line than make a tackle when it's
Right.
cold. He did that with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's doing it now. So I'm like, these people some frauds.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically all you can really say about them. So like I said, 2 games out, 5 to go. Best bet's probably hoping the Broncos fade, because I don't think the Ravens are going to fall out. I don't think the Chargers are going to fall out.
I hope the Ravens fall out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't think the Dolphins would win enough to jump them necessarily. And they still have to jump the Colts. The Colts are in between them and the Broncos as well. They have the same record,
Them
but the Colts have tiebreaker.
blah blah. Ew.
Yeah,
Cold.
yeah. I kind of feel like the AFC playoff picture is probably set. Only thing, if the Bengals win, get to 5-7, if the defense, whatever, maybe they are the team that could take advantage if the Broncos fall off. But you're looking at Colts, Dolphins, Bengals as three teams with glaring issues, have been real inconsistent, that now need to be as consistent as they've ever been all season. I can't sit here and say that I trust any of those three teams to do that. So AFC picture seems like it's pretty much set for what it's going to be.
Yep.
But let's keep going as team reports now. So, you guys are new to the show. Jory is a Titans fan. I'm a Patriots fan. So since we do this show before the upcoming week's game, we kind of take a few moments to kind of give our thoughts on like our future opponent, and stuff within the team leading up to that game. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, Jory, go ahead with your Titans report.
So last week we had beat Houston 32-27.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis was phenomenal, minus the pick six. I get it. It happens. But what I will say is he didn't melt down completely after that. Usually at the beginning of the season, he would melt down after he made a mistake. I'm glad that he's gradually gaining the mental fortitude I'm glad that he's toughening up and stop being a meme every damn week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say Tony Pollard and Ridley and Nick Westbrook-Ikine, they were pretty solid. I like my team. My defense gave Houston hell all afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a resurgence. Tavondre Sweat got his first career sack. Jarvis Brownlee got his first career interception. So I'm optimistic. The way Will Levis has played these past 3 weeks, I am very proud of. Since recovering from the shoulder injury. And I know we play the Commanders. I need my defensive line to get home. We cannot miss tackles.
Mm-hmm.
But they're working on that. Like, what's coming to fruition what I see with them is teams are having an issue. You're either going to double Jeffrey or you're going to double Devondre. You can't double both. Otherwise, you're going to have Kenneth Murray coming from the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're having that type of issue. And I know Washington's offensive line is horrific. It's questionable. Now, the concerns I do have is on the offensive line, especially the right side. Now, granted, J.C. Latham didn't have the best outing last week, but he was going against his teammate in Will Anderson. Who else?
Yeah, Will Anderson.
Them two went against each other in practice. I expected that to happen.
Yeah, Will Anderson
He
has
knows his
beaten a
weak
lot
spots.
of linemen this year, so yeah, that's a tough assignment for anybody.
Like, JC has been one of the best rookie tackles in the league so far. I think he's gonna come back to being he's gonna come back down to earth versus the Commanders. Now, granted, I know they have Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, but they're not in their primes anymore.
Yeah. And the Commanders have lost 3 in a row.
Right.
So,
and they're on a skid.
Tennessee might be getting them at a really good time right now.
And I have corners that can cover. So, what is really, I need the right side of the offensive line to really get its grip together. I've been saying that all week. I need a right tackle and a right guard.
Hmm.
I am tired of looking at Nicholas Petit Frere. I'm tired. Why every year it's a lineman that makes me mad? Last year it was Andre Dillard. The year before that it was Dennis Daly. This year it's Nicholas Petit Frere. And he was a first round pick out of Ole Miss. He should have stayed an extra year. I can't stand him getting stupid penalties. The left side is fine.
Yeah.
It's that right side. And it's like, I feel like if we had a tackle, if we either had a solid tackle or a guard, they could disguise the other one.
Hmm.
But because both of them are volatile and tragic,
Hmm.
it is what it is. But I like my team's chances. My defense is playing lights out. My offense is getting it together. Can we stop with the stupid penalties? I don't know which one, somebody, I don't know who pissed off the referees, but slide them a little bread. Because I'm tired of them effing with my games, man. I'm tired. Versus Minnesota, they cost us 18 points. 18 points. And we lost by 10. Did we lose by 10? Yeah, we lost by 10.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I am proud of Will Levis. And I'm proud of Brian Callahan. I'm seeing his growth as a coach as well. He is not afraid to challenge stuff. I said, I'm glad because the person that you're replacing was not afraid to throw a challenge flag with some flair.
Hmm.
He got that crap from Bill.
Yeah.
He sure did.
Yeah. Okay. So you say you're confident going to the matchup. I guess scale of 1 to 10. How confident?
8.5.
Okay, that is pretty confident. Okay. All right. Look, we'll see. I mean, like we said, like you said, Commanders are reeling. They might be doubting themselves a little bit. Tennessee is playing better, especially Will Levis playing better the past couple of weeks. They just knocked off a Texans squad that's leading the division. Like Tennessee's going to come into this one very confident in what they've been doing lately.
And we're not thinking playoffs, so they can really play spoilers. Now, if we
Right.
F around and make the playoffs, that's great. But if we lose one more game, that's it. So I already know that.
Right. I mean, look, it's far fetched, I guess you would say, but crazier things have happened. I mean, look, you put
Tennessee,
together a
they've
few
done it
wins.
before.
Yeah.
They've done it before. Under Vrabel.
Right.
Started off horribly and then rattled off like 6 games straight, beat the crap out of Houston
Yeah.
in week 18 and made the playoffs. If any team is going to do some crap like that, it's going to be mine.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of moving parts would be needed for it to happen, but like Tennessee would have to, win out, need a few teams to lose out, but like I said, it's the NFL. You never know. All right. So that's the Titans report. Now I'll go ahead with Patriots, who are staring down the old nemesis in the Indianapolis Colts. The two organizations do not like each other. The fan bases do not like each other. I mean, I don't know if Robert Kraft hates Jim Irsay. I wouldn't hate him if he did. But yeah, the Colts are coming into this one, 5-7, same position as the Dolphins, holding on to that glimmer of hope of making the playoffs. I would want nothing more than the Patriots to be the one that goes up against them, beats them, and kind of kills their chances. It would make for a good moment in a season that's been void of many moments to celebrate. But kind of like you said about your Titans, not really thinking playoffs. This is about building for next year. The Dolphins game was rough to start with for Drake May. I thought late in the game he made a couple of plays that you can look at and say, look, this is part of the development. He's shown an ability to scramble to his right or his left, make throws down the field, avoid would be sacks. Like those are all things that you can look towards next year and go build off of that. O line has had their problems. They just released Michael Jordan. And yes, I saw a lot of the jokes on Pat's Twitter about, oh, they just released the GOAT. How are we going to win? Like, yes. And then a bunch of them are like, well, Michael Jordan is up there in age. How are you expecting him to block in the NFL? Yes, I've seen all of them. I've chuckled at them, but now it's over. They need to do something about the line for next season because I do think the Patriots aren't necessarily terribly far away from competing again. It's just that it's been rough watching that line this year. Try to protect Jacoby Brissett, protect Drake May, create opportunities for Ramondre Stevenson. So, yeah, going up against the Colts team, all I'm looking for is, I guess, more establishment with May and these young wide receivers, even though I don't know all of them will necessarily be back next year. I think Pop Douglas is a mainstay. I need to start seeing some more out of Jalen Polk because I liked the pick when they made it, but so far it has been a rough transition for him. I would like to see these last few weeks him probably gain some confidence. I do think with some of the drops earlier, he's lost a bit of it and is trying to put on a front to act like it hasn't affected him. Damian Pats need Eberflus. No, we don't. Like Eberflus can go away
permanently.
Yeah, he'll pop up some random place. We know how the NFL works, but yeah, it's just because it's the Colts. Like if you're gonna get your fourth win of the season, let it be against the Colts. I can't stand that organization. And like I said, most Patriots fans, if you ask them their most hated team, they'd probably say the Jets first.
The Colts are going to be a slow second.
Colts are right up there. If not second, probably like third on their list.
It's funny because my uncle is a Patriots fan. My family, that side of the family, they all from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got Bears fans because Gary. That's closer to Chicago. You got Colts fans. You got Lions fans.
It might be an interesting week in your family with Pats versus Colts then.
Yeah. And then there's just me, the one Titans fan.
Right,
I've been telling him, I said, don't start a fight with me because I don't like the Colts either. Bump them for what y'all did to Andrew Luck. And I don't like y'all anyway. Your owner's a buzzard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for the Patriots, the key will be, as I mentioned, offensively, but defensively, don't do what the Jets did and allow Anthony Richardson to get comfortable. Like that's one thing I don't need. I want to see them do to Richardson what they did to Caleb Williams. I would love to see that. But yeah, just make it uncomfortable for Richardson. Disguise some blitzes, disguise coverages, and let's see if Anthony Richardson can break down defenses pre-snap. Like that's all I'm asking for. And it looks like Damien has joined in on not liking the Colts. So there you go.
We completely agree.
Yes. All right. Those are the team reports. Let's get into these picks. So last week, these are the picks that we had. We'll start with Jory's column here. She took Commanders over the Cowboys, Lions over the Colts, Eagles over the Rams, and then the upset, she went homer with it, Titans over the Texans. She went 3-1 last week. The only one you missed was Commanders over the Cowboys, and let's be honest, the Commanders should have won that game.
They
You
made
were
me mad.
you were a Turpin spin move on a punt return
For being
away from probably
undefeated.
winning that. Yes.
I'm like, are you special teams?
Yes. Yeah. Well, look, 3-1 is not a terrible week at all. Um, for me, I had Chiefs over the Panthers. I took the Packers over the 49ers, Broncos over the Raiders, and then my upset was Chargers over the Ravens. I went 3-1 as well. The one that I missed was the upset as the Chargers fell a little short against the Ravens. So we both go 3-1, which does nothing for me as I was behind going into the week. So I still am. So you are now 31-25. I'm 26-30. I feel like out of all the places I'm doing picks, I'm probably doing the worst here, but we're gonna finish strong. For me, can I finish above 500? Like let's make that happen. So we do have another slate of games, obviously not counting Black Friday game that happened earlier today and the 3 yesterday. We still have some games to choose from. So we're looking at so if you're watching, the teams that are underlined are the ones that are the favorite. So we have Chargers looking to bounce back from the loss to the Ravens, traveling to Atlanta as road favorites to face off against the Atlanta Falcons. We have the Bengals, who I believe were on the bye last week, as a home favorite over the Steelers, who are coming in, I guess, reeling a little bit, but they're still on pace to have a really good season. We have the Cardinals traveling up to Minnesota to Skull Country to face Sam Darnold and the favorite Vikings at home. We've got the Colts, as we just mentioned before, road favorites heading up to New England to face Drake May and the Patriots. We got the Seahawks, who now wake up fully in the NFC West race after they were in it earlier, fell behind, have fought back. They travel to the Jets in New York to face off against the Aaron Rodgers drama creators. And yeah, we'll see what kind of mood Aaron Rodgers is in for that game. Got Jory's Titans traveling to Landover. I was going to say Washington, but it's Landover, Maryland, to face the Washington Commanders at home, as the Commanders are favorites in that one. The inconsistent Houston Texans travel to Jacksonville to face seemingly Trevor Lawrence coming back from injury in the Jags. I don't know if that's going to change anything, but he's back from
The
injury.
even more inconsistent Jags. It's okay for you to say that.
No, yes, yeah. They had a couple of weeks of Mac Jones. Now it's back to Trevor Lawrence. Sure. Yeah, we'll see what they look like. The Rams traveling to New Orleans to face the Saints. Rams are a road favorite in that matchup, as the Rams, just like the Seahawks, are in that NFC West race. We'll see who decides to take over or emerge from that group after this week. This weekend, got Baker Mayfield and his Buccaneers, road favorites, going to Carolina to face the plucky Panthers with Bryce Young. Like they have played some good football lately. Probably won't be an easy one for the Bucs, but they are the favorite going into that matchup. The next two, I guess, could arguably be games of the week. You got the Eagles traveling to Baltimore to face the Ravens, who are favorites at home. And you got the 49ers traveling up to Orchard Park to face the Bills. The Bills will be home favorites in that matchup. The 49ers are wounded, but they still find themselves with a chance to win that division. And then Monday night, interesting matchup. Jameis Winston and the Browns traveling out to Mile High. I think it's Invesco Field or something, but it's Mile High to me, to face Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and the Broncos, who are favorites at home. So, those of you watching, the way we do our picks, Jory and I will each pick three favorites that we like, and then an upset pick. As Damien says, I hope Daniel Jones plays the second half of the Cardinals game. That's right. Daniel Jones did make his decision. He's he's a Viking now. So if Darnold struggles or they get a big enough lead, we could see Daniel Jones on the field as a Viking.
Oh Lord.
It's a possibility, but
I doubt the Vikings were the contender he wanted to go to, huh?
I was a little surprised by that decision. Not gonna lie, because the supposedly the list was Niners. Um, I think the Vikings were in there. So it was like Niners, Vikings. Was it Rams and Ravens? Ravens seemed odd to me too.
Cause I'm like, the Ravens don't want your long-headed self.
Right.
They don't want
I mean,
you.
yes, he has speed or whatever with the ball, but I'm like,
You trip over
if
your own
Lamar
2 feet.
right, it's like if Lamar for whatever reason couldn't play, why would Baltimore feel comfortable turning it over to Daniel Jones? That seemed weird to me, but he was on the list, so he chose Minnesota. Cool. Clearly, that's where he wants to be. More power to him. So yeah, Jory, what are your picks for this week?
All right. I feel like, well, let's start with the upset because that's easy. I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead and go straight back to the well last week.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick my Titans over the Commanders. I will pick the Bills over the 49ers. I'm staying away from the Buccaneers Panthers game because that
Mm-hmm.
screams of an upset.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Rams over Saints. I'd take that.
Okay.
Out of all, which do I realistically have a fair chance of? Because the Cardinals are Jekyll and Heidi. They can come out and just spank the Vikings if they felt like it. The Steelers, but the Bengals defense is bad. So, I mean, bad.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, considering that Atlanta has no pass rush and that defense is taking a really big step back for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
Chargers at Falcons.
Okay. Those are solid picks. To be honest with you, probably two out of the four would be ones I would have made. Okay, so you know, to avoid, well, obviously me being down like four games, I can't necessarily match picks with you anyway. So let's take some chances here. For one of my favorites, I will take the Seahawks over the Jets. The Jets are an absolute dumpster fire. I think the Seahawks now have a lot of confidence because they've made themselves back into contenders in that division to win the crown. I say it every time I pick the Seahawks. It's hard to find a skill position group in the NFL that I don't like as much as Seattle. Metcalf, Smith and Jigba, Lockett, Walker, Charbonnet. Like, if they could ever, be consistent, like they could be a really good offensive unit. So I'll take the Seahawks over the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
As Damien says, I heard the only reason the Cardinals are playing well is because Murray got banned from COD. That's Hey, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I have been surprised that he's still played well and Call of Duty's been out for a few weeks now. But hey, maybe he's turned the corner. Or, like Damien said, maybe he got banned and he just has no other reason than
To not
to
pay
play
attention to
football
football.
right now. Yeah. I will take. You know what? I'll take the Broncos over the Browns on Monday night. I look. That's probably a game I should stay away from. But wouldn't this be kind of the opportunity where Jameis has like a 3 interception game and the Broncos defense gets to him? I think Bo Nix has done well for himself as a rookie quarterback. They're 7-5. This is a game that if they get to 8-5, they might be seen as a bit of a lock for the playoffs at that point, which I was not prepared for that this season. But you got to give Bo Nix credit. I know neither of us like Sean Payton like that, so I'll give credit to Bo Nix as a guy who came in. He wasn't seen as Caleb or Jaden or even Drake's level. To a lot of people, he wasn't seen on JJ McCarthy's level, and he's put together some quality wins this year. Not saying a Browns team that's struggling is a quality win, but they've looked a lot better under Jameis than the previous number 4 that was back there. So you give the Browns some chance in this game, but I'll take the Broncos with the home field advantage that is playing out in Denver. The next one, as much as I like what's going on in Carolina with Bryce Young, I'll take Baker and the Bucks to win that one. Look, I think that game's going to be fun, only because Bryce Young's confident right now. You couldn't find me a time when Baker Mayfield isn't confident in himself. Baker Mayfield's the type they could be
Even when
0
he throwing
16.
picks.
Yeah, they could be 0-16. He could throw 5 picks in a game, and you couldn't tell. And I feel like this is a game, and if the Chargers Falcons game goes the way that you picked it, the Bucks could be in a position that, with the injuries that they sustained with Mike Evans, who is back, the Chris Godwin injury, that a lot of people thought was the end of their season, they
Cough,
could be
cough.
right back into it. Yes, yes. So I'll take the Bucks.
And I will say, granted, the Bucks, when their playoff case, we all know that only one team from the NFC South is making it.
Yes. Yeah.
So they would need to win versus the Panthers, and they
Mm-hmm.
would need Atlanta to lose out.
Right.
Not just lose this game, lose out, because they already lost both games versus the Falcons.
Yeah, that's the only part that's they're well behind the 8 ball with that one. They've already lost both matchups to the team that's ahead of them. But yeah, we'll see because the
We'll see.
Falcons will do Falcon things.
They're doing it
Now,
now.
right, my upset. I mean, I feel like I got to go down this road. Let's go Patriots. Let's knock off those Colts. They're coming into New England.
Please do it.
They
Please
are
do
not
it.
that good of a team. Like, let's be real. So let's look for Drake May, couple of touchdown passes, get a turnover or 2 on Anthony Richardson. So I'll take the Patriots in an upset over the Colts. All right. So just to recap, Jory's taking the Bills over the Niners, the Rams over the Saints, Chargers over the Falcons, and her upset, like she said, she's going back to the well. Titans worked out last week, taking the Titans over the Commanders this week. I have the Seahawks over the Jets, the Broncos over the Browns, the Bucks over the Panthers, and my upset, Patriots over the Colts. All right. Those are the NFL picks for the week. And look, Obviously, if you're gonna choose one of us, Jory's the one in the lead. She might win you a few bucks. I don't know, but let's go ahead and take a look at. So before we get into our final topic, make sure you guys check us out over on Tumblr. We have a blog there. I will say the content's been lacking a little bit past couple of weeks, but
It's
we're
coming.
gonna fix that. Yes, it's coming for sure. I will say I've made a note of it. Our picks will be up there later today. I'm putting my hand up, promising that. So that will be up there. I'm gonna try to do an article. I said this last week. I'm really gonna try to do an article this weekend up there. So make sure you go there on Tumblr and follow us. I see Colts Pats ending in an overtime tie. Damien,
Why?
you're on thin ice, Damien. We don't play for ties in New England. All right, no, it's all good. Um, so yeah, make sure you do that. Now, we did have a special topic because I probably should have led with this. I'm sorry for that, but hopefully you all had a great Thanksgiving, and we're that day after. I'm sure some of you probably spent an extra hour in the gym or sat at your desk just wondering why you ate as much as you did on Thanksgiving. Hold on, I gotta fix this. There we go. So Jory and I have turkeys of the year. I will say Jory probably has more on her list than I do, because I have one. My list is basically one person that I just when we were talking about this came to mind right away. So that's gonna be mine. But
I have
Jory,
a
will let you
feeling I
proceed.
know where you're going.
I mean, maybe. uh, well, I mean, since you think you know, what sport?
Football.
Actually, no. Mine is
It's
the basketball.
basketball?
Yeah. Wait, who are you thinking?
I thought you was gonna just take that moment to get on rip Aaron Rodgers.
That'd be too easy. That'd be too easy. I do that every week on here anyway. So yeah, this is gonna be a different one. But yeah. So Jory, who do you have for turkeys of the year?
Well, if you're not gonna take the bait, I am New York football. And I'm not even finna be specific. They're not good enough to get their own turkey. They gotta split one.
Okay.
They stink and they're dysfunctional. Both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all have a team in the NFC and a team in the AFC, and they're both just as trash. The Jets decided they wanted to turn their organization into Aaron Rod whatever Aaron Rodgers says Aaron Rodgers gets. And now he talking about he want to come back to the Jets. I don't think you're gonna have much of a choice after your season ends. Um, if we're gonna be completely honest, Aaron. And then the mishandling of Daniel Jones and this foolishness that's going on, and I think they're trying to get Dable fired.
It does look like that.
It looks like they're trying to get that man fired. So I'm like, Turkey of the year, they're one of them. And to another duo that just they didn't deserve a turkey of their own. They had to split one. Mike McFraud and Nick Sirianni. I know the Eagles look good right now, but I feel like they're playing despite Nick Sirianni because he still makes those decisions 1 to 2 a game. That is like, what in the heck are you doing? And he's still childish. He'll still argue with fans. He'll still, yeah. And I still don't like the fact that he tried to use his kids as a way to deflect from heat.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he was gonna catch heat that game.
Yeah.
Then he gonna bring his kids. Now I can't ask the question I really want to ask because your kids here. Who does that? Just a manipulative. I will never live that down. And I have a bonus one
Okay.
that is not sports related. Drake,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you jive turkey. You big overgrown baby.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't thinking about suing none of that or thinking about no defamation lawsuit until now. Now you want to sue with your sassy ass. And you wonder why don't nobody like you. And Lil Wayne, while I'm on it, both of
Yeah.
y'all can share a turkey. Over here crying about a Super Bowl that he never got offered to him. That was never even offered to him. Talking about New Orleans is my city and I need to host a blah, 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 blah. Your own city didn't want you. And you cried about it ever since it was announced that Kendrick got it. And now that you got a little bar saying that Kendrick was disappointed in you and your reaction because you came across as a hating, bitter, salty person that was jealous, now you're upset. Learn the words to your own songs and stop slurring at concerts first.
Yeah. That revelation was wild. Where he says he doesn't remember his lyrics and he's basically just wigging it. Like that's crazy. And to think he wanted like a was like 10, 15-minute spot, the most televised event of the year. Yeah, there's a reason why the league wouldn't want you headlining that.
First of
Like,
all,
come on.
your hair. I'm not with the your hair, sir. You have locks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people with locks that have nice looking locks. This man looked like a drug addict. What makes you think that the Super Bowl is gonna want him on the stage? Like, be for real. And now he mad that Kendrick gave him a little bar because he was being salty. He was like, what I do? All y'all some victims. You and your buddy Drake.
Let's just hope he learned from Drake and doesn't want to engage in some beef with Kendrick because we all know Kendrick got time, got
He has
plenty of.
time for it.
So
He
okay,
already brought
look.
up how Drake and not like us.
Mm-hmm.
You already got a little straight in there
Mm-hmm.
unknowingly. Like,
I mean, look for your
let
bonus
that
one that
rest.
wasn't sports related. It in a roundabout way, it is sports related.
Yeah, because it made me mad.
Yeah, I mean, yes, basically, yes. Damien kind of nailed on the head.
He didn't.
Drake's
He wasn't
hurt.
butthurt about it. He was saying that he false fed Kendrick Lamar the information and da 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 da. Now he
Yeah,
want to sue you, Karen. Get out of here.
yeah. Okay, look that. I mean, that the rest. That's the end of your list.
That's it.
Okay. I mean, those are pretty good turkeys right there. All right, so for mine, yes, Aaron Rodgers did cross my mind, but like I said, I do that every week anyway. I'm gonna go up to good old Kendrick Perkins
I
because
That was a close second.
this guy right here is, I guess, like he's trying to make it seem like he doesn't care that he wasn't welcomed with open arms for the parade and everything like that. Okay, whatever, move past that. But basically, last week he was on ESPN, I think Countdown, and said no NBA Today. They were showing Celtics highlights, and Kendrick Perkins tried to go with, I want to apologize because we should have been giving Jason Tatum more credit and had him more involved in the MVP conversation. When I heard that, I almost lost it because I was just like, what's this we about? It's all about you. You're the one who was part of the NBA media that dogged Jason Tatum all playoffs, even though he led the Celtics in points, rebounds, and assists. And we know there's other guys in this league haven't done anything near what Jason Tatum has, who, if they had that stat line behind them, y'all would have been glorifying. Let
He
Luca
led
do
the
that for
Tatum hate.
Dallas. Right. Like, let Luca do that for Dallas. Y'all think he's the best player in the league. Let Donovan Mitchell do that for Cleveland. Y'all think he's some whatever. Let Jalen Brunson, of all people, do that in New York. Y'all
Don't
have
get
been
me
ready to
started.
put. But I'm saying, like, they would have been ready to build a statue for Jalen Brunson. But Tatum, who's a guy, doesn't get in trouble off the court, you know, portrays nothing but being a good dad and loving his mom. Every time you see him, his kids with him, and his mom's right there. But no, to y'all, he's too corny, he's too boring, and y'all just wanted to take y'all shots at him. But now, because he's balling out, now we need to make some apology towards him. I don't know, Ken. I don't know if Perk is trying to get back into the good graces with the Celtics.
It is.
Maybe it's a start, but you need to look at Joe Mazzulla because he needs to start getting some credit as well.
You need to apologize for that bird brain comment, you dodo.
Exactly. And until he does that, I don't care
That's
how much
not gonna happen.
you would Tatum, it's not going to help you in any way.
It's not gonna happen.
So,
And Jaylen Brown holds grudges.
and I love it. Jaylen Brown sat around and was the quiet guy for too long. Now the top's been lifted, and this man does not care. Damien said Turkey of the Year should be Netflix and that BS boxing fight that was lagging.
The turkey should have been the fight because it was BS.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the lagging part, like, it happens. But yes, the fight itself, like, they rated this up for months. And I kind of knew, like, let's be honest, like, Mike Tyson's close to 70. I don't know what y'all expected from him. Who do you want to fight next? Like, I'm trying to think of somebody who's really old. Jimmy Carter? Dude just turned 100. Like, Jake Paul, go take some swings at him. Like, come on now. But yeah, so Kendrick Perkins was it for me. Kind of to a greater extent NBA media, because a lot of them are like real biased when they talk about certain players, and like, yeah, I don't know, because even last season when they started talking about the LeBron problem and no stars to step up, it's like, y'all are the media, y'all are supposed to create the next wave of stars. There's plenty of them out there. Y'all just chose not to.
Yeah, but y'all so focused on foolishness.
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
You talk about Dallas all the time.
Right.
Talk about the Cowboys for an hour and a half every day, and we don't need to.
Speaking of statues,
all y'all talk about is the Lakers and how many holes we got.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
Wade statue needs to be in jail. Yes, that's also very true. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, just expand the topics. That's all you need to do. Just very simple. So yeah, turkeys of the year. Like I said, do a little special Thanksgiving type one. I guess we'll technically have to come up with something special for around Christmas and like New Year's.
I'm already thinking.
I know you are. There's one thing, we will come up with something. But yeah, those are the topics that we have for you. Damien adding some great nominations as well. Let's see, put that there. Okay. So before we get out of here, I mean, Jory, anything you want to add before we go?
We'll be updating the podcast Tumblr with the mid-season report cards soon. I'll start that. I'll finish resuming that tomorrow. You'll see the graphics as well, and I'll have an NBA video on my personal channel coming out tomorrow or Sunday as well.
All right, there you go. Look, for me, obviously on here, which if you like the video, I mean, like the stream, give us a like. Like the episode, I should say. Give us a like. Make sure you follow, subscribe, Integrity Sports Network. I believe we'll be back on here. I guess you might see both of us back on here Sunday for snap counts. We'll see. My channel, I have a video going up about kind of Celtics pulse of the team month in, giving my thoughts on how they've looked so far. So you can check that out over on Chomping at the Bit. Like Jory said, Tumblr, I will put our picks up there later tonight and try to have an article up there this weekend as well. So make sure you check that out if you want more content from the show. So appreciate all of you that were in the chat. And like I said, welcome back, Damien. I know you like to bring that troll energy. I'm here for it. Greatly appreciate that. I would say Shannon Sharp should be on there. Hey, Shannon's had an interesting year. We'll leave it at that. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so make sure you guys come back next week where we will have some more NFL as we'll be another step closer to the playoffs. We'll probably look a little bit more at the playoff picture and see who we think will be in and out. Might have to bring up our predictions before the season for the playoff teams.
Oh, Jory's jacked up tears returns next week.
There we go. So you guys got to look for that. See if there's been any movement on that tier list. But yeah, so I think we'll look at our playoff bracket predictions and see where we are, who's in good standing right now. We'll also have some NBA to talk about. I mean, we'll see what I guess the NBA Cup and all that will be out of group play stage. Maybe we'll take a look at that. I don't know. If anything big happens and you need to get our opinion on it, we'll definitely talk about that next week as well. So with that, I know that was a lot, but allow you to enjoy the rest of your evening. If you probably still have some family over from Thanksgiving, enjoy them. Watch